When we first started talking about the project, we struggled a lot with a name for it because all of the terms for fading, both in Japanese and English, are kind of negative. There's something you don't want to happen. You don't want things to fade. But really, I don't see what's happened with this cloth as fading. I see it much more almost as a photograph where light has come in, and through that light, something else has been added to the cloth. We see that visually as the loss of color, but it doesn't feel like a loss to me. It feels like the addition of something. My name's Roland Ricketts. I was trained in indigo farming and dyeing here in Tokushima and grow my own indigo and process it into tsukumo and create artwork with it. The indigo that's been grown and processed here in Tokushima for centuries doesn't belong to one person. It's something that belongs to everybody. So I really wanted to involve people who aren't dyers, who aren't involved with growing indigo, to create an opportunity for them to have Awa Indigo in their lives for a few months and then be involved in a project that's collective, just like the tradition of indigo in Tokushima is.
藍の上に生まれてくるいろんな景色を肯定的に捉えたら藍に対する見方が変わりますよ。藍ってこういう変化するんもええな、こうやって色変わるよな、もういいもんやな、綺麗やなって思ってもらえたら藍染めに対する印象も変わると思います。
One of the essential features of this work is the small speakers. There are 48 of them. Those sounds can mix with the larger house speakers that are up above, and you have sound coming at you from all directions. Everything that I did for this project has to do with the process by which the visual portion of this work was made. The idea that light enters through the hole and will change the color that's in the cloth by fading the dye is something that I worked very deliberately with.
The sound really reflects what's happening visually. Each cloth, how some has faded more and some has faded less, and some has bright points and some has much more subtle points. But there's still all these points created across the surface of the installation. And the sound really reflects that quite well. One of the participants from England came to see the exhibit, and she said something that really struck me as very, very true, which was that in the installation she really felt the presence of Awa Indigo cycle in the constant cycle of the natural world, where you have seasons that change, and much like the leaves change color on a tree in the fall, you have the color changing on the cloth. that for her was reminiscent of the cycle of nature. And Awa Indigo's process of growing the plants and making the tsukumo and dyeing cloth with it is also part of this natural cycle. I was really struck by her words because it made me think of the entire project as part of a cycle where people dyed the cloth and then lived with that cloth for 5 months. And then those things came back together in this space. And when the installation's done, its cloth will go back out to the participants. So this is part of a cycle, but it will continue on as the cloth goes back to everybody and lives on in various forms in their lives. So I feel like it's a very fitting thing that that short installation is just part of this much larger cycle of this project, but then also of indigo in general. In the cycle of indigo, you have the indigo being grown and processed and dyed, but really at the end of the day, it's turned into cloth, which is a consumable item. You use it, you wash it, and it eventually fades. But that's also a very beautiful thing. It's visual evidence of that cycle.